So this is what I think happened with my roommate. Now he gets very upset and he does very stupid things. Like when I had a seizure and I was bleeding and blood was on the wall and there was blood gushing from me, he tried to lick out my ear, literally like sexually lick and suck on my ear, unbutton my shirt, open my shirt, try to lick my chest and push me back. At this point, I'm kind of awake. Now remember, I just had a seizure, hit my head, I'm bleeding, I'm dizzy, I barely can see. But I recognize what's happening, and I just kind of go off the bed. I roll off the bed, and I yell, "Don't fucking get away from me, call an ambulance, call it," which he doesn't do. Well, that was reported by somebody else I was taking care of, the guy who was 50 with the mind of a 7-year-old. At this time, my job was to take care of those two, and I also was working at Salvation Army at the same time. But anyways, I was working a lot of odd jobs like that when I first moved up here, as well as the ID was a big problem. When I first moved up here, I was able to have an ID or something. I forget how I was able to get these, but I was able to get my Salvation Army job pretty early. But there was an ID. Oh no, it was a Massachusetts ID. It expired at about the same time as I went and got the job at a gas station, my first gas station job. Um, yeah, that's how I got the gas station job too. Is I used an ID and I literally put in the ID as it expired, and then they let me kind of wait on another one. But it was already expired for a long time, and a lot of jobs wouldn't take me while it was expired. But anyway, so I had to wait for that for a long time. That was not quite fun. And luckily, a job let me kind of wait because I was going to get an ID, and they let me. That was the gas station job where I was going to get an ID. I already showed that I had an expired ID, and I was getting one soon, and they allowed me to work and wait for it. But this job at Salvation Army, I had this ID right before it expired when I first moved up here. Now, that ID kept the jobs going, the odd jobs, until it expired. Then I had to hope that someplace would take an expired ID as I try to get stuff to get the DMV and get a new one. Now I had to make multiple trips to Massachusetts to get a new ID. But anyways, so I had a seizure and he did awful things, sexual things, and because he's losing his mind. He's 83 and he's just losing his mind. I mean, it's very it's already been proven that he has sexual problems. Usually I can keep him in check and keep the community safe from his behaviors, but when I'm out of action, that's not a good thing. But anyway, so he does this. Well, I'm trying to get him help, and I've told him this is the list of things: the fire, the trash can fire, the stove fire, the sexual thing when I had a seizure, the other seizure where you didn't call an ambulance. You didn't call an ambulance for both of these. You also saw this happen, this happen. You allowed this person to come in and steal money. You allowed this person to come in and steal money. You brought this person in with drugs. You won't stop bringing this person over. I mean, this is a big issue. I mean, I don't want drugs in my house. And these are the issues. I made a list and I told them I'm bringing that down to human services. I really need to try to get you help. This is what I'm doing. And I did it too. I did. And I try to keep it more clean when I was down there just for his sake. But because I told him I would be reporting him for, I didn't say all these things. I said some of these things I might be going over. And I said, these are true. You did these. And he agreed. Yes, you did. He did these things. In house, he obviously knows what he did, and he'll act stupid sometimes. He'll pretend stupid, play stupid, but after you wait and bring it up again and again, eventually he does go over it, and I have him describe it. What do you remember? Okay, good. You're remembering some of it. So, the same day that I call the doctors, I go through them, I go down the human services, all that. He goes on the phone and he starts making weird phone calls. He's mad a little bit. I see he's upset and he's trying to do something, but I don't know what. And this is his evil face. This is when he's doing something he's not supposed to. I know he's trying to do something he's not supposed to, but I can't quite figure out what it is. And he does so many stupid little things that it's hard for me to tell what this one is. And sometimes they're on purpose, sometimes they're not. Well, Later, about a week later, I get a report. Now, the report is that we're under investigation. What's great, we get a surprise visit so they can see that without me cleaning, the whole place is falling apart. They're able to talk to Dave, go through some things while I'm here. They're able to see our relationship, see that I'm seriously hurt, but yet I do the caregiving, and David quite doesn't know what a serious situation is. They're starting to understand that. But a week later, when I go in to speak with this worker, she tells me that I'm going to have my own worker and she's David's worker, but they have reports of a lot of different types of abuse going back and forth. I said, "Oh, is this abuse mine, a sexual thing?" She goes, "I can't speak on that, but and she kind of just stopped and gave me a look like, "Yeah," but I'm not quite sure exactly what. But my report, I did file a report on at least one of these at the hospital, that one of these incidents, as well as I'm sure they already know how David is from the time he spent in prison and some of the things he says in public and some of the things he says to his probation officers. I'm sure they kind of understand that he's a serious problem. As far as I go, I get a report that he's getting beaten with a cane, and at first I'm like shocked. I'm shocked by such a report because obviously no, I would never put my hands on another human being. I've taken beatings for this guy. I've literally gone and taken a beating to stop the neighbors from harassing. We had the police here. We had people assaulting him next door, taking his hat, spitting on him, trying to screw with his company van that he got dropped off. This company van was supposed to stay here overnight and then leave. He got permission from the landlord, and people are messing with it. People are messing with him. There's now a restraining order getting started, and the police are showing up. I'm coming home from work, and the police are here because apparently the neighbor and him are fighting again. So I went down there and I said, "Hey, this shit needs to stop." I said, "If you want to fight or if you want to get aggression, you could do this right now. But I'm not dealing with this shit. I'm not dealing with you guys harassing this old man. If you got a problem with him, that's fine. You can go to the courts, you can go to the police, you can go to whoever you want. But don't you come over to my house and be causing problems for me and causing all this issue and causing harm to another person." I said, "If you have a fucking problem, you can do it right here." And of course, somebody stepped up, punched me. I held my ground, and he wanted to punch me again. I told him that's not how this is going. I tossed him on the ground with me, and we rolled around on the ground for a little bit. He tried to kick me. I stopped the kicks. I kind of stopped it. Once when it goes on the ground, I'm pretty good at making sure the person can't hurt me, as well as they get cut up on the ground themselves from rolling around. It's not fun for them. And that's how I make sure that it's not fun for anybody. We're going to fight on the ground. That's what's going to happen. You can punch me, but you're getting on that ground and you're fighting me on the ground. And no matter how you come out, you're not going to like it. Because I can't quite stand for very long. I also lose my balance and my coordination. So making sure that we fight on the ground is a way that we both don't get too hurt. But anyways, that's how that went. It ended up on the ground. We both got cut up. The police didn't charge both of us. Nobody got charged. Nobody pressed charges because I would have to press charges on him and he would have to press charges on me. You both go to jail or nobody goes to jail. And I did all that to stop it. And in 6 years or so, or 5 years or so, we've not had a single incident. David has not had any fights, any arguments, or any problems with any neighbor. It completely stopped at that day, and I've never seen them have a problem with him again. So obviously there is no beating of canes going on. That's the most bullshit I ever heard, a beating of a cane. Most likely I was being